All right, welcome to Romera Records Virtual Cast. Today we have on Bao Pham. How's it going, man?
Hey, how's it going? Thank you for inviting me.
No doubt. So, Brandon Roberts, he introduced me to you from Instagram. He told me to check out your stuff, turn me up, Bao. So I was like, all right, I'll check him out. And then I was like, shoot, I need to have this dude on the podcast. I've seen all your work, and I was like, that'd be a really interesting guy to talk to. Uh,
Thank you. I
even
appreciate it.
in your email chain all the credits that all the people you worked with and stuff like that. That's pretty crazy. So how did you start? Like, are you just an engineer, or do you do beats? Like, what do you do in music?
Right. I started back in 2000, or actually 1999 officially. I was at this studio and they had a Triton and believe a Trinity. And then they had like a digital, uh, tracking station. I want to say it's a D16 by Korg or something like that, but it's like, everything is recorded on a small little digital recorder.
Mhm.
And that's how I kind of got my start. Just playing around, learning, producing, making beats, rapping. So I was just doing the whole type of thing, and just kind of fell into engineering later on. But mainly producing. I play classical guitar. I play, lead and rhythm guitar. I play keys. Play classical piano. Um, I can play bass as well. Bass is relative to guitar, and also saxophone. A little bit of saxophone. So I have a very deep musical background. So my dad had a band. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, between 8 and like 14 or 15, I would play in his band, playing keys. And, it wasn't really great music. It was like, stuff for Vietnamese weddings and some one off parties here and there. So it's just pretty much it helped me to understand like the band structure. You know what I'm saying? Like drums, where bass is supposed to be in pocket here and there, guitars, keys, vocals. You know what I'm saying? So it gave me a good understanding, underlying foundation of how like music is put together. You know what I'm saying? And then with my classical background, it just gave me a very detailed introduction into like chord structure, and you know what I'm saying. It helped me with my production later on. But with hip hop stuff, like I was really more listening to like alternative music, like Nirvana or Smashing Pumpkins or Soundgarden and stuff like that, until my best friend put me on to my first CD, which was the Wu Tang and the Into the 36 Chambers, and
Nice.
also the Notorious B.I.G., the Ready to Die. Those were my first two CDs I ever had. And so when I got those, I just was amazed like how it sounded. You know what I'm saying? I was just very drawn to it. And then also, I ended up throwing away all or giving away all of my alternative music. Like I gave away all my CDs. Like even though I still listen to Nirvana now, but I gave it all away. So working into that, you know what I'm saying? It just helped me with my production, and I was just really trying to figure out how beats were made. And I was a big DJ Premier fan, still a big fan of DJ Premier, and was trying to figure out how he produced. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know what sampling was, and I loved the grit and the griminess of his records and how it sounded. And so I really try to emulate that type of stuff into the Triton. And it just kind of went from there. You know what I'm saying?
That's
So long story short.
that's crazy. So you said you're Vietnamese. So how did that? You were doing the alternative, then you got introduced to hip hop, like, and then all the instruments you were playing. Like, how did that come about? Like, I don't know what Vietnamese traditional music is, or what have you. So how did it how did it get introduced into your life as like, oh, this is interesting. I like this.
Well, my dad, he's self-taught playing guitar, and bass and drums. That's what they did back in Vietnam. And he was born during the war, the Vietnam War, and escaped from it later on. So when he came over here, that was just his passion. That's what he loved to do. And like I said, he had a band, and obviously wanted me to do something with music. He put me in piano lessons. I went to art school. He put me into all types of different things musically and artistically to help me, later on. And at the time, I really hated it, to be honest. I didn't want to practice. Sometimes I skipped practicing, and, I just did not enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? But I'm really thankful for it because it really taught me a lot of patience, for one, and then two, it really helped hone my skills. You know what I'm saying? And comes when it comes to pitch and chords and keys. As an engineer, that's a huge advantage, because some engineers don't even know that side. They're not really very musical. They're just very technical. You
Hmm.
feel me? And so, yeah, that's how I got into it. And like I said, played in the band, and that's what we did pretty much all the time. My dad had built a whole, like, extra room at the house we were at the time, and all the practice gear was back there. So yeah, he wanted me to do something in music, obviously. So, and here I am. Yeah.
So I am from Aniana, Alabama. Do you know where that is?
No. Where's that?
So that's like it is about an hour northeast from Birmingham. Montgomery is, I guess, I don't know, maybe like 2 hours from Aniana. But
Yeah.
the people that you've worked with, so Dobie, I have a good friend, and he actually grew up with Dobie, and he was telling me um, we were watching the "Let Me Find Out" video. It was a crazy story. Me and him were just watching a video together, and he's like, "That dude looks like my old friend Glenn." And we get to the end of the video, and he's like, "Let me find out they used to call me Fat Glenn." He's like, "That's Glenn." So it was just a weird coincidence, but ended up, what happened to him, and I was just like, man, like such a talent, they
Yeah.
just popped up and then it's gone, and I hate that kind of stuff happens in the industry. We have so many talented people that end up, just gone one day, and it's you never know the potential. And it's crazy, like the amount of people that you have probably come in contact with, and you might not keep up with every single one of them. You might not know what has happened to every single person, but um, are there certain people that you have worked with that you haven't kept up with, and you're like, man, this person, they should be big, or I really liked working with this person.
Yeah, there's been a few. It all comes down to one's own drive and consistency. You know, um, and there's a lot of talented people that don't have the drive or consistency. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't the best at what I did at the time around, when I was starting out in 2005. There's a bunch of other people in my city that were better than me at that time. And they were much more talented, but they didn't keep going. So now you don't even hear about them anymore. You know what I'm saying? So that's a very, very important thing. You can have talent, but if you don't have the hard work and ethic to keep going, it's not going to work. You know what I'm saying? Even I work hard and have the work ethic, and luckily I have the talent as well. But even with my efforts, it's still difficult. You know what I'm saying? Now I will say, like, Dolby was kind of like my second chance at cracking the music industry. Because prior to that, in 2007, I produced on Ti vs. Tip's album, and produced the song "Watch What You Say to Me" with Jay-Z on it. So that was back in 2007. You feel what I'm saying? So, and at the time, I had a partner, and I actually made that beat by myself. but decided to include him in on it and also cut him half of the check,
Oh
which was
wow.
a little bit stupid of me, you know what I'm saying? But to me, to show loyalty, that's what I did. We ended up falling out, you know what I'm saying? And you know, you haven't heard of that other half of that production group that I was in, mainly because no consistency. You get what I'm saying? And I was pretty much carrying the weight on my own. So that's why you hear about me a little bit and not that other guy anymore. You feel what I'm saying? So yeah, this business is pretty tough, man. You know what I'm saying? You really have to work really hard. And in some instances you had to kind of kiss some ass, you know what I'm saying? And that's kind of difficult for me. I'm not the one that likes to do that. And you can look at it two different ways. You can kiss ass or be of value. You feel what I'm saying? So it's two different thought processes and approaches to it. And it's the same thing, you know what I'm saying? But like I said, man, I just really have a hard time doing that. But it is what it is, man. You know what I'm saying?
So when you do music with these big name people, how does it first come across to your mind? Like you are you just excited? Are you just nervous? Like what is it like when you're first realizing like, oh, I'm about to do a record with T.I. and Jay-Z? Like how does that first hit you?
Well, back then that was awesome. You know what I'm saying? There's a whole story behind that, a whole backstory behind it. But yeah, it was amazing to be on the same liner note as Jay Z. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy. Ti. You know what I'm saying? Like that's like a dream come true, and that's like my first placement. So it was exciting. You know what I'm saying? What was not exciting was the business side of it. You know what I'm saying? That's a whole nother story. A whole nother side that it's just unfortunate that people had to deal with, which I did deal with, and it kind of gave me a really bad taste into the introduction of the music business.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I didn't have any mentors. I never had one. You know what I'm saying? So me learning on what to do business wise, and thinking that people are your friends, not. It's just taught to you. You just have to kind of figure it out. But like more so, like I can do this. I know I can. I'm able to do it with the skills that I have. So, I'll be. You know what I'm saying? So.
So when you first, get your name into the business, did you see that things were easier or did it make it harder? Like how was that transition from, I'm just doing my thing to, oh, my name is out there?
It's just putting in work, man. It is very hard. Once you get in, like you get hit with a bunch of things. So I guess so. So for instance, with the Ti versus Tip thing, getting a lot of calls from a lot of people wanting to sign publishing to publishing deals and stuff like that. But like I said, I was dealing with a partner of mine that kind of hindered the situation. You know what I'm saying? And was wanting to control me, which was unfortunate, because I trusted this person. So there was a lot of things in line that I didn't know anything about, like the publishing deal and stuff like that, and what's beneficial, blah blah blah, this and that. So even though the publishing deal might not have been a huge deal, it would have gotten in the door in some aspect. You know what I'm saying? As far as connections are concerned, and then you had to build from there. You feel what I'm saying? So like I said, me not having a mentor and not knowing who to talk to and what to do, I was not knowing at the time specifically what direction to go with or go through with. So, but if in hindsight, I probably would have loved to take that publishing deal because it would have opened up opportunities. You know what I'm saying? And at first, you're not going to make the money that you're going to want to make. You have to pay your dues, and I was willing to, but like I said, man, you got to really learn how to trust people or find people that have your best interests at heart, because this is a very cutthroat throat game. You know what I'm saying? And I'm very blessed and be able to still be doing this, and especially during a pandemic. So
When
that's that, man.
when you are looking for somebody to like trust, is are you looking for like people who are currently in the industry, people who like are just random friends of yours? Like how do you find somebody who you're like, all right, I need to cling to this person?
Well, that's when you start building relationships, and that over a period of time. And you just have to watch for signs, body language, actions, reactions, comments, and just it comes with a bit of a street sense. You got to kind of know, what I'm saying, and read people. And like I said, you can either kiss ass or be of value. So being of value, you just offer or ask for something later. You know what I'm saying? So and it's very hard to find. It's just like life. You know what I'm saying? Like, you grow up. Like, I'm not sure about how you are, but I can only count on one hand how many real friends I have. You feel what I'm saying? So in this business, it's pretty much the same. You know what I'm saying? And if you're not offering something of value or being beneficial to somebody, you're not gonna, prosper. And then you have to kind of eat shit for a while. You know what I'm saying? And that's fine, no problem. I mean, I've been doing that for a while, and I work with one guy. Shout out to JJ Stevens. That's Clever's producer.
Oh yeah.
Clever. So, I built that relationship over a year's time, and just offered value, like, really, what I'm saying? And he's always been nice to me, you know what I'm saying? And with that type of relationship in particular, I've never met him or Clever, but I ended up getting a major album mix placement on Clever's album, you know what I'm saying? So that definitely benefited me as well as him, and I wasn't looking for money when I did the mix for that album, you know what I'm saying? And I actually did that like a year prior to the album about to come out, you know what I'm saying? So it's beneficial if you just really just sensing people's attitude and stuff like that. And then there's some that I won't mention where I've worked relationships with, and it's just been a take situation. You feel what I'm saying? There's givers and takers. So to have a cohesive relationship, it kind of has to be a bit of both. You had to kind of give and kind of take at the same time. You know what I'm saying? You might have to give a lot at first, but eventually taking is more of like asking, you know what I'm saying? And then there's takers that just suck the life out of you, you know what I'm saying? So you just got to be very cautious about that. And probably about 90 to 95% of the people in this business is going to take from you anyway. So
Yeah,
just
it's
that.
some of the coolest things I've heard from like big name people is like Zaytoven. Somebody did an interview with him, and he was like, "Yeah, like when I first started out, I was giving away beats for free like all the time,
Yeah.
and reason why is I didn't care about the money so much as I did like the placement because if so and so he was like if you make it big, like if I give you a beat and you make it big, I'm going to make more money after that than I would have made off of you anyways. So I was like, dang, that's that's a pretty cool way to think about it. And then
Yeah. Yeah.
what's his name? DJ Khaled. I was listening to an interview with him and he was saying pretty much the same thing. He was like, people I'm cool with, I would just give them beats. And like, if I didn't know you and you were trying to ask for a beat, I'd charge you. But he was like, the people I was cool with, I would just do stuff for free because that relationship I'm building with you. And if we make it big, we're going to do it together. It's because we built a bond
Right.
together. I was like, man, so many people don't have that mindset. Like they're more focused on what can I get now? Like I want money now, I want fame now. How can I get it? Instead of thinking about that long term, bond relationship with people, and that's that's crazy. Like people short trying to short term their career, and it's just really killing yourself. You're not really doing yourself a favor by doing that. I really want to know
Yeah,
like
when you give though, go ahead.
no, yeah, you're fine. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, when you give, it feels better. Saying especially if it's genuine, and especially if if the person is cool, you have no problem giving. But if you're giving and the person is constantly taking, then it's just a drain. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you got to be able to decipher all of that, and sometimes you ain't gonna be able to figure out that type of thing until like maybe a year or so after you've been building the relationship. You know what I'm saying? So but that's my small piece on what you just said.
So I
So
really want to know, like, with the whole, you're talking about JJ Stevens and Clever, like, as far as Alabama people, like, do you try to work with Alabama people, or some people are just like hometown people, like they love if like people from New York, they love working with people from New York, or people from Atlanta love Atlanta people. Like, do you try to work with Alabama people?
yeah, I have in the past. I mean, everything that you could think of, I've done as far as trying to help artists and stuff like that. So um, I've gotten burnt a few times. You know what I'm saying? Working with the wrong artists. But that's just the nature of it. And there's some that I've definitely helped. And we're still cool with. And even though it hadn't really gone much of anywhere, or has gone a little bit, it's still no love lost. So with Junior Boss, like I helped him out a whole lot after he got out of prison. And helped him with his EP when he just got out of the Feds EP. And then worked on his Thousand Nights mixtape and also the Junior Batista mixtape. Like those two mixtapes were a lot of work, you know what I'm saying? And it was done for no money, you know what I'm saying? So if you go back and listen to it, you'll be thinking like, wow, So it's just building that relationship, you know what I'm saying? But me and him are still cool. Like there's no love lost because like it's just love and respect there, you know what I'm saying? On another instance, I worked with another artist, and I won't name his name, but I did the same thing. This is prior to Junior Boss. It's probably like maybe a couple years before it, or maybe a year before, and I went above and beyond, like stuff I didn't have to do. You know what I'm saying? Provide beats for maybe little or nothing. I did charge for studio time, but I put my own money in as far as trying to break the artist and getting the publicists and shooting videos for the artists and editing the videos and did a lot of stuff. Traveled to Las Vegas to shoot on scene about stuff, and
Dang.
you know, um, the thing is that he crossed me out by like signing with a management person that wanted to just take from him. And the funny thing is that like I paid for the lawyer to look over the management agreement. And if he would have signed the stuff that was presented to him without the lawyer, then he would be stuck in that agreement for about another for 7 years straight. You know what I'm saying? So I don't talk to that guy to this day. He's just been very unappreciative, and to be honest, he hasn't gone anywhere. It actually has his career has dwindled since me. But it's just like one of them things where you just don't really know, man, until like I said, about a year in or so, if they're cool or not, and if they're going to do what they say they're going to do, and all this type of stuff. So that's the risk that comes with doing uh, making it in this business, and you have to constantly just give value, or like I said, kiss ass, and continue to just push on until something breaks. You know what I'm saying? So there's no easy road. There's no easy road. It's not been an easy road for me, and it's all about the journey as well. As well, you feel what I'm saying?
Is there something that you haven't done that you like really been wanting to do? Like you've played all those instruments, and you've been engineering, you're making beats, but is there something that you like, man, I really want to get into this?
Musically, I've always wanted to be an artist, but I've always been selfless on that type of aspect to where I would not put my own time into my own self. So, but I think that time is coming past. You know what I'm saying? I'm not really interested in performing in front of people. I still am interested in making music, though. You know what I'm saying? And during this pandemic time, it might be possible to do so. But with my current schedule being very high demand and mixing and mastering and some production that hasn't allowed me to put the time into myself. But I'm working on that. I'm working on, doing some things to where I can step away from mixing music for money and doing music because I want to, without having it to be my primary source of income. And so that's the goal. Hopefully by next year, that's my goal, to do something else and have that investment paid for my living. And then I can freely do music as I want to.
Have you ever thought about so do you know what like puremix.net is, or like mix with the masters and stuff like that? Have you
Yep,
ever
I'm signed up with Mixing with the Masters, and I actually attended a Mix with the Masters seminar in France with Jason Joshua and Dave Pensado in
Okay.
August 2019. So I'm very familiar with Mix with the Masters. I love the seminar. Jason and Dave are two of the greatest mixers of all time, and I learned a lot from them, a whole lot, alongside with me already knowing a lot. So going to that just really upped my game tremendously. And I was already pretty good. You know what I'm saying? I Looking back at it, I was probably like 85 to 90% there. But to get that extra 10% and really truly be like a master, when I went to that seminar, it definitely helped me to get to that level. Now, all I had to do is just get on some major albums, and luckily I am on one. So hopefully, people enjoy the song that I mixed, and it will bring some other work from that.
So what would you say is like something that you've been really proud of doing? Like, I mean, obviously, I'd be proud of the freaking TIJZ record, but like, what's something that you just like, man, I'm really happy that I was a part of that thing.
Well, I was very happy with the Dobie stuff. Like, obviously, that was the probably the most enjoyable, because he was very easy to work with, and he just trusted me to do my thing. Like, it was really no questions asked. If there's something he didn't like, he just simply disagreed, and we worked it out, and it was very, very easy to work with, and was one of the most, and if not the most talented artists that I've worked with. So, to see it from coming from starting at my studio, going into a multi-million-dollar studio, and being on his way to becoming a superstar, was like an awesome ride, like an awesome journey. And it just made all the hard work worth it. You know what I'm saying? And if he didn't die, I would probably be in a different place, and actually, a lot of people would be in a different place. But as unfortunate as it had been, we're just kind of left with the remaining, parts of his legacy. You get what I'm saying? So, and it's been very hard to bounce back for a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? Luckily, I'm still doing it, like I said, and but his former management and former financier, and family, it's just unfortunately like just been it's been very difficult for them since he passed.
Yeah. Are you able to explain a little bit about? I've got a lot of people who listen to music and stuff like that because I rap and make beats and engineer and all that kind of stuff. So, what are you able to explain like what goes on after an artist passed? So, I mean, recently we've had like XXX Pop Smoke, like their numbers skyrocketed after they passed away, and they had tons of songs released after they passed away. So, are you able to speak a little bit about like what goes on with like stuff that's been already recorded and then released after somebody passes away?
Well, their stuff is in a different era of music. It's current. You know what I'm saying? So And I would say it would come down to management. You get what I'm saying? Like they had good management, great management for them to be able to have their legacies continue on, like with Juice World, great management. Dolby did not have great management. You know what I'm saying? I hate to say it, but there's some things that still have not been done on the management end, and it's just very unfortunate, for Doe. I really feel for his legacy, but it comes down to that, like handling the business on that back end part is crucial. A manager will make or break your career. You get what I'm saying? And if you don't have the proper people behind you, it's going to fail. And obviously, that's what happened. It took 7 years to come out with a legit album.
That's
You
so
got to think about that. And it's not because of my doing. Even though some people want to blame me because of me holding the sessions or having the sessions, but it's not the case. Because once when let's just go back a little bit. After Doe died, about 5 or 6 months later, Doe's father, was awarded the administrator of the estate, and so I handed over the sessions to them at that time in 2014. But like I said, mismanagement failed Doe at the end. You know what I'm saying? His former management, he had like three managers. When he died, two of them went away. You feel what I'm saying? It was nothing else for them to work on. One of them was Frank, and I would say he mishandled it. So that's why it's a lot of stuff that just didn't work out until this time. And just being real, if I didn't put in the effort to put together Dobie's album, then it would not have been done. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just saying this with all honesty, and without any malice towards Frank or anyone else. I mean, people had 7 years to do it, and they didn't do it until I did it. And that's what really is the painful thing with Dobie. You know what I'm saying? And I really wanted to um, finalize his legacy in some type of way, not for any money, not for any benefit of my own, because there's no benefit except for, some notoriety, you know what I'm saying? But there's no monetary benefit for me in his music, you know what I'm saying? I put in way more than I could ever get back, you know what I'm saying? And but it's brought a lot of peace to a lot of people too. So and to be honest, I am kind of managing his stuff, but it's been a bit frustrating to manage his stuff because it's like I'm doing somebody else's work, you know what I'm saying? And they're getting paid for it. So what do you do with that? Like, do you continue on or not? You know what I'm saying? So it's just, his stuff has just been a real tragedy. And I hate to be negative in this interview about it, but I'm just talking about facts and reality, man.
yeah, and I definitely appreciate that. Like sometimes people want to sugarcoat like a situation, and when you truly get real about it, like it helps people out. Like that's the reason why I do this podcast the way I do it. Like I don't interrogate people. I just ask questions that
Right.
are off the top of my head while we're talking. Is because I
Right.
want people to give real information and real stories because somebody might watch this and it's going to change their whole perspective of the music industry and how things happen. And I I can, like you were talking about, recognizing people like their mannerisms and how they talk and how they act. I can just tell you're a real person and you're just speaking what's off the top of your head. So some people they can't filter that. Like they don't know what a real person is, and so they just eat that bull crap that people will feed them, and it's like, dude, you're gonna screw yourself over, yeah, eventually. So I have a friend, Fly Pilot D, who's a rapper, and he's a streets guy, and he was telling me like dude, I'm gonna have to protect you from the streets because like these people are gonna screw you over. You're not gonna know. I'm like, I got it, man. But it's some people are legit. They just they need that guidance. They need somebody who has been there, done that, and they know like what's going on. I mean, do you feel like how old are you?
I'm 38 now.
So at that age and probably the amount of stuff that you've been through, like, do you feel like you have crossed into the realm of now you're just starting to mentor people?
I would love to mentor people, man. I'm really just mentoring my son, because I don't have the time to, mentor everybody that comes to me. You know what I'm saying? All I can do is just kind of offer some guidance here and there. And, maybe people do feel like I am mentoring them because when they ask me questions, I will answer as much as possible to the best of my ability with the time available that I have. So I'm just doing me, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, somebody just asked me a question like, there's an artist that recorded to the same beat that I made, that I recorded to, and they just dropped yesterday. Should I still release it? And I just answered them, and I was like, man, at the end of the day, this is a lease beat. Nobody owns the beats. You get what I'm saying? And it's all about who does the best song, and then ultimately who does the best marketing behind it. So I wouldn't even worry about that other artist. Like, so what? You know what I'm saying? That's the risk that you deal with when you're buying a leased beat. You feel what I'm saying? So you have to accept the risk and move on with it. And you have to be confident in yourself to be the better artist. You know what I'm saying? So this is a very competitive game. So do what you need to do, man. And so that's in a form mentoring, which I kind of don't look at. I'm just answering a question. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, as like what you were talking about, people people need to realize like as an artist, you need to sometimes look at yourself as a company, and
Right.
at the end of the day, like it's not all about who did it first; it's about who did it best. And
Right. Right. Exactly.
like sometimes you'll hear somebody do a song and with like a certain style, and then somebody else would do it later, like a similar style, and that's the one that gets all the notoriety, and that's the one people are hearing on the radio and all the time. And so, what about the first one? The other one's better. So it's sometimes it sucks, you know. It's like, hey, this person did it first. Like, yeah, but this person did it better, and so that's why they're making more money and they're getting all the plays and stuff like that. Which it's sad and it sucks, but who cares?
The instances where people, take, what I'm saying? That's that culture vulture thing. You feel what I'm saying? So on the flip side of that, somebody will take something and not necessarily do it better, but they have the resources to put it out there to make it seem like they did it better. You know what I'm saying? So you had to kind of discern that. And, the regular fan ain't going to know that. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it's a flip side to it as well. Just to be playing devil's advocate on what you just said.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, the person that comes to mind to me is Drake. Like a lot of people were talking bad about Drake with him not writing his lyrics and stuff like that. I'm just like, all right, say he doesn't write any of his stuff. You still like the music. Isn't that the point at the end of the day? I mean, we all aren't going to call him the best MC or the best lyricist.
Right.
He didn't do the lyrics, but he's great at what he's doing. Like Denzel Washington might not have written all his lines, but you still like the movie he was in. You still like the actor. So that's sometimes how I have to like explain it to people, or how I like to think about it is at the end of the day, are you enjoying the end product? And if the end product is great, then that person is good at music. But we do enjoy the great MCs who are great lyricists. I've heard stories like Eminem would like try to make sure people are like writing their lyrics and stuff like that because he just wants to see somebody actually doing what they say they're doing and actually doing the stuff. But it's we can decipher the difference between those two people, great lyricists and just people who are just like great artists, in my opinion.
Right, right. See, the thing with Drake that people have a problem with is that those hip hop purists really firmly believe that you got to write all your stuff. You know what I'm saying? And that's true. I'm part of that purist. You feel what I'm saying? On the flip side of it, Drake is an artist, and he's not particularly a rap artist. You know what I'm saying? He is and isn't, um, and that's where the problem lies. He's also like an R&B pop artist. You know what I'm saying? And he's just doing stuff that's very current and relevant to the culture. You know what I'm saying? Is he a vulture? I don't know. I don't think so. Based off of his demeanor, with his interviews and stuff like that, I don't think he's a vulture. You know what I'm saying? He's just taking advantage of what's going on at the time and just melding it into his own form of the music, and he's just taking a piece of it. And that's fine. Kanye did the same thing too. You feel what I'm saying? So poaching artists, or not poaching, but just using artists that were relevant at the time, to make music for his own album. You know what I'm saying? So is he a vulture? Maybe. You know what I'm saying? Because of his demeanor. You know what I'm saying? So that's that whole thing about discerning people. Um, are they legitimate? Are they real? You ain't never gonna know. You feel what I'm saying? All you're gonna have to do is either you like the music or not. And as a fan, like, I enjoy Kanye's music as well as Drake's. You get what I'm saying? So I'm just a fan of music. Like, all that extra stuff just complicates things. You get what I'm saying? And this day and age, when information and videos and uh, are more prevalent, you learn about stuff about an artist that you kind of wish you didn't want to know. Whereas back in the day, like, you didn't know all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? You found out about all that stuff in a movie or documentary later. You know what I'm saying? It's either going to make you respect them or lose respect with them. With James Brown's biopic or whatever, with I forgot the guy's name that just passed,
Was it
but
Chad?
Chadwick Boseman. Yeah, he played James Brown. Like, I didn't know about all that stuff. I love James Brown's music though. You know what I'm saying? But like, would you like him as a person? Probably not. You know what I'm saying? Um, and then you have like Justin Bieber's like first documentary on his come up, and I watched that and I loved it. That made me really appreciate Justin Bieber way more, even though he's a pop artist that people think he's just like a pop toast guy. But that dude is really talented, man. He can play drums, he can play guitar, and what I'm saying, very musically talented. And I liked his demeanor then. And then he had that whole little thing with the N word and saying stuff like that. And you know, um, you know how white folks can be, man. They do a lot of stuff behind doors. So not to be racist, but it just is what it is, man. Just but like I said, when you're all this information that's being shown to you, is either you're gonna love them or hate them. So no artist is gonna be perfect. No person is perfect. So you gotta either accept it and go along with it, or you just don't deal with it and just move on to the next person.
Yeah, speaking of Justin, I was talking to somebody the other day about how like people criticize Justin so much in his like much early 20s and late teens. I'm like, okay, remove yourself from this conversation. Think about this. Try being 13 years old and 20-year-olds want to be with you and you've got all this money. How do you think you would act? Like like nobody, like nothing could prepare you for that life. And I was like, man, it's crazy what the music industry could do to you. Like I don't remember what age. I think they say Usher is like who discovered Justin, but like
Mm.
I don't know what age he found him at. But that is just absolutely mind blowing how music can just change like your lifestyle completely. So do you know? Did you know Doe before he started doing music, or did you know him like while he was doing music?
Wow.
While he was
Um,
doing.
I met him like briefly in 2008, but it's always on a musical tip with Doe. You feel what I'm saying? I didn't know about his whole personal stuff until after, or a little bit during. You know what I'm saying? I knew about his stuff during, and knew about some of the street stuff that was involved around him. So, but not very deep into it. You know what I'm saying? It's a very musical relationship. So yeah, man, like you just never know with people, man.
But I'm sure as you worked with him, like you can still see him change as a person. Like set the music aside, like him just like growing as a human being, dealing with other people and the music industry and stuff like that. So it's
I mean, I think at the end of the day, like his spirit was great, was good. You know what I'm saying? That's what I noticed about him. Like I never really seen him act like an asshole. He was never arrogant. That's just how he was. Like he's a very humble person that had a lot of talent. You know what I'm saying? So that just makes it all the more tragic. You know what I'm saying? So that's another reason why I was proud to work with Doe, and I did what I did to put this album together because of how he treated me. You know what I'm
mm,
saying? And I'm the type of person that jokes a lot, you know what I'm saying, in the studio to keep the mood up and keep things interesting and fun and, have people enjoy being in the studio. That's part of my job, you know what I'm saying, as a producer and engineer.
yeah.
So, there have been times where I joked on Doe a little too hard at times, and I admit that, I definitely admit that. But yeah, man, I didn't really, as far as him changing, like he never really changed. It's just he was the same person up until he passed. Wanting to be in the studio, wanting to record, wanting to make music all the time, and leave everything outside, and bring himself in and work on his own stuff. All the distractions are gone, and just him focusing. He was always like that. Even when he went through some of his most difficult times, you know, I remember it where he got robbed, and they took everything from him. They took his eye patch. He came into the studio the next day with the same clothes on, and he told me about it. You know what I'm saying? And his eye exposed, and he has stitches. So he told me about it, and then he didn't complain. He put that energy into a song, and that turned out to be Hood Memories. You get
Mm.
what I'm saying? And it's probably one of his best songs ever, um,
What did
because he's talking about a real situation.
what did happen to his eye?
He got shot in the eye. It was something back in 2000, I think maybe 8 or 2009. And I didn't really know him at the time, but one of his friend, it was something that happened at a club, and then it got brought outside of the club, and then there was a bunch of shit talking with his friend driving, and then Doe in the passenger seat. You get what I'm saying? So it led up to them going to a gas station, and his friend talking shit to the other guy, and Doe was in the middle of them, and something happened, and then the guy shot into the car and hit him in the eye, right there.
Dang,
So he survived. As crazy as that sounds, and that's what happened, man.
that's wild. I mean,
Hmm.
the I'm sure you've heard some pretty crazy stories just from like all the artists you've worked with, and that to me, like that's why I do this podcast is to hear stories and learn about people and let others like experience like the stuff that you've been through, like knowing all the stuff that you've been through, um, is pretty cool. Like hearing all these stories that you've been telling. So I definitely thankful and enjoy knowing that kind of stuff. But
Yeah, no problem, man.
is there an artist that you haven't worked with that you would really like to work with?
Um, there's plenty of guys, man. Like I didn't. I, I worked with a few guys. A lot of the stuff, credits wise, is like either in person or not. You feel what I'm saying?
Mm.
So obviously you can't do that in person nowadays with the pandemic, or you can, but prefer not to. So, yeah, I would love to still work with people in the business that I admire. You know what I'm saying? Do I have the desire for it? Maybe not at this time, you know, but music is going in a different direction that I'm not really feeling at the moment. You know what I'm saying? So, if anything, you know, I'll just help my son work with whoever he wants to work with, and then help him. You know, that's who I really want to work with, my son. You know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? To help school him through the game, and then you know give him some pointers and tips, but still let him be his own person.
Yeah.
That's who I want to work with.
Did you ever
Yes.
do anything with Doom? I see you got the picture back there.
Nah, I never did, man. I just a fan, and you know, I was in a previous interview where you know we talked about that, and it's just some artwork. You know what I'm saying? In my studio, I still had to get some stuff over here
Okay.
because I just moved in like October. But Doom is just super respected on the underground tip, and if I can live up to that type of thing on the underground tip, I'm cool with that. You know, I love what he represents. I love, you know, I listened to him a lot more after he died, unfortunately, but you know, I understand his weirdness, his idiosyncrasies, and what he used and why he did it that way, and you know, um, I after his passing, like it made me really appreciate more what he did for the culture, you know, and like we kind of, I wouldn't say we're similar, but you know, we have kind of like a similar distaste for the music business. You get
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Where he was kind of burnt at the beginning and went through a lot of stuff and then reinvented himself to be MF Doom after the fact. You get what I'm saying? And then just did his own thing and became like a cult underground king. You get what I'm saying? And then he moved to, I think he moved to what, London later, and then he died there, something like that. So yeah, that's crazy. Like I'm in Shanghai now. You know, I knock on wood. I don't want to die here, but you know, it's kind of weird that I'm drawn to him, and it's the some of the background stuff is a little similar. You know.
Yeah, I mean he's definitely unorthodox
Yeah.
and he's not traditional, and that is what music is supposed to be. I mean, if you're an artist, you're supposed to paint a picture that's not like anybody else. And
Right.
unfortunately, that's how the music industry is going toward. Like everything sounds the same, and a lot of people like to get upset with Russ because of what he had said about a lot of rappers sound the same. He was like, it's because these producers are making the same beats, and
Right.
I was like, that's true. Because, you know, if you hear a beat, you kind of want to sound the same as like what somebody else did to a similar beat. And it's like, well, that's the nature of the beast. If if you had 10 beats by um like Metro Boomin and 10 beats by London on the Track or like people like this, and then you had 10 beats by Timberland, I would bet Timberland's 10 beats would sound completely different. And then like London on the Track or somebody like that would sound kind of similar. Like when you hear a Metro beat, you're like, oh, that makes sense. That's Metro. But like you're not going to hear a Timberland beat and like, man, I bet this was Timberland. I mean, unless you really know Timberland's beats, like you might do that. But I agree with that. I agree with the fact that it takes everybody's got to do their part. And if you're a rapper and you're getting the same beats from the same people, then your music's going to sound the same. That's just what happens.
Right. Yeah. That's why I'm not really interested in working with anybody kind of new like that. Like I'm not interested, man. Like they sound the same, it's the same type of beats, and it's not really groundbreaking. You know, if what I want to work on is some groundbreaking stuff,
Yeah,
like what are you doing different than everybody else? Because if you're doing it the same, it's going to be much harder to stand out. But if you're doing something different, then that's something that I want to. That's the type of person I want to work with. You get what I'm saying?
yeah,
And since my son started, he's like only 14. He's got like a placement on DJ the Rapper's album, stuff like that. He helped me produce on a couple of the records that are on Doe's album, the I Can Be That and the For the Money records. You know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to teach them how to be different instead of sounding the same. And when you first start out, you're mimicking somebody, and that's fine. It's no problem. But when it comes to like making your own identity, like what are you going to do that's different, that's going to stand out? You know what I'm saying? That's really important. I feel like in music today. You know what I'm saying? That should be.
Absolutely. Well, man, I want to get you out of here on time for your next stuff up, but it's been absolutely great talking to you. Everything that you shared, I absolutely loved it. I will have to do something with you sometime, whether you're mixing my vocals or I'm getting a beat from you or your son, even him. Like, let's
Yeah.
have to do something. Shout out to Brandon for recommending you.
Yeah.
Um,
Shout out to Brandon, man. Yeah, appreciate you inviting me on, man, and being allowed to speak on your platform, man. So just let me know, man. We'll go from there.
awesome. All right. Well, thank you for everybody tuning in, and see you next time.